How can I convince my mom to buy me new sneakers? I like this one because it's not that obvious. What's my hypothesis, Joseph? Okay, if you bribe your mom, you can buy your sneakers yourself. If I bribe my mom, who else has a different answer? A different suggestion? Ava. Excellent. Talin. If I behave, do my chores. Excellent. Puppy eyes. Oh, that works a lot. Repeat. If I promise my mom, I'll wear them every day. Good. Evan. Good grades. Good. So the independent variable up here is what you're actually going to do. So we're not going to write bribe. We're going to write your behavior. Because this is the thing we change. So the first time I bribe my mom, doesn't work. Second time I get good grades, doesn't work. Third time I beg her, Mom, I promise I'll wear them every day. The fourth time, I need a new plan. Because if it doesn't work, you have to change your hypothesis. So if I bribe my mom, this is the behavior. This is what you're going to do. Then she will buy me new sneakers. Now, maybe I get good grades and she buys me ice cream. This is not working. Maybe I beg her to get me new sneakers and she doesn't buy me the ones I want. This is not working. So I constantly have to revise my hypothesis or even the experiment. I got to revise my variables so that I get what I want. What do I want to happen? What is my dependent responding variable, Gracie? Yeah, the prize. What I get. The actual prize. And in this case, it's the new sneakers. You might not get the new sneakers each time, but you have to record what happened. I told my mom I had good grades. She goes, that's okay. That's what I expect from you. I get hundreds all the time. My sister would get 80s. The minute my sister brings home 100, there's a big party. Mom, I bring home hundreds every day. I expect that from you, Melissa. Really? I don't like that at all. Anyway, but I love my sister, Amy. Shout out to Amy. Which brand of batteries last the longest? Which brand of batteries last the longest? Somebody give me a hypothesis. Kristen, hypothesize, please. I love it, but you need to be a little more definitive. What does definitive mean? I want your answer to be definitive. That means definite. So be definite. You're giving me a very general. Pick a brand. Any brand. Awesome. If I use Duracell, what's going to happen? All right. So you could say, if I use Ava Franco brand. Make it up. If I use Franco batteries. Ooh. Now your name's on the thing. Oh, I'm so bad at this. If I use Duracell batteries, then what's going to happen? They will. Joseph? Yeah. Yes. Okay, independent variable. Somebody write it down. Come up here and write on the board for me. Go ahead, Isabella. No, I already called you. Sophie, I already called you too. Stop raising your hand. Gracie. Hurry up, though. You're far away. You got to go fast. Who's going to give me the dependent variable? Joseph. We're doing the dependent, and Gracie's doing the independent. Hurry up, Mama Cita, you have to come up here. Yeah, so what's the manipulative variable? Write it down. Grace, you have to get out of your seat, come to the board, and write it down. You were so excited to win, and then you didn't get out of your seat. Come on. Okay, so you're writing what? The brand of batteries. Let's go. Joseph. Just the brand, right? We can pick Duracell, we can pick Energizer, we can use Franco batteries, we can use... We're using Francos. Caliendo batteries. So we don't know which brand is going to last the longest. I think we're going to use Jalen's brand. You're silly. Just the brand, baby, because it's just the brand. Just the right brand.
That's what I was doing.
Okay. This is also going to be a dud video. Sorry to say that. The dependent responding variable. What's going to happen, JoJo? Let's go. That is going to be, what am I measuring? How many lollipops I get? What am I measuring?
How many batteries? How long it is?
Excellent. How long the batteries last? How long they work for? If I'm using a flashlight and it runs out of batteries, I'm stuck in the dark. So I want to use the batteries that last the longest. Justin, what's the matter? All right, good. All right, so how are we doing? Use your metacognitive skills right now. You have that checklist. How many people, just by a show of hands, feel confident that they can identify all the safety rules, plus if I gave you an instrument or a safety thing, you would know how to use it? How many people are confident that they can identify an observation and an inference? Write your own observation inference. How many people feel like they can write their own hypothesis? You can identify the variables. You can write your own experiment with a clear-cut procedure. You can take an experiment we've done already, expand on it, and ask new questions. Because you'll have to do that for your test. Your own questions. So we did an experiment yesterday. Our experiment was called, what effect does the cell phone have on your reaction time? What do you need, sir? Go. Now, every experiment has two groups. The experiment has an experimental group. This is the part that we do the experiment on. That's the changing part. There's also a control group. The control group doesn't change. There's no changes happening here. Please take out your notebook, and then you're just going to write this down. Experimental versus control. This is the change. This is no change. If there are changes, things will vary. So this is your variables. Your independent variable is going to change in your experimental group. But there is going to be no variable in the control group. So yesterday our experiment had 3 parts to it. The first part, we tested your reaction time without the cell phone. The second part, we tested it while you were talking on the phone. The third part, you tested it while you were texting. Now, they can only be either experimental or control. So which parts of the experiment were experimental? The thing that we had to change, Jack? Yeah, so what part of that was it? What did we do? One time we talked and the other time we texted. Texted and talked on the phone. That's what changed, correct? Now, how do you know if it really worked? You need something to compare your results to. Your control group is always going to be your baseline. It's your bottom line. This is the thing that you use as your comparison. You can't do an experiment unless you have something to compare it to. Because how do I really know that my reflexes changed and my reaction time changed? Maybe I just have the same reaction time all the time. Doesn't matter. I need something that has no changes. So what in our experiment we did yesterday was our control group. Which part, Sophie? Jalen, help her out. Well, we used our phone, and that's what we changed. So what group? There's only one more group. It was the first one we did. What was the first one we did, Jack? One without the phone. That's your baseline. That's the thing I can use everything to compare it thereafter. All right, you ready? Without the phone. We're going to do 2 more examples and see if you can get them. All right, let's see how good it is. And then we're going to come back to this chart. Organizing your data in charts. So the first experiment was talking and not talking. Let's see what this is. This is the scenario. In a public health study, researchers want to see how the addition of fresh produce stands in inner cities. So they're going to put fresh produce stands in inner cities can affect the body weights of people that live within 1 mile of the stand. Because if you live within 1 mile of the stand, the chances are it's convenient, you're going to go there. So the researchers gathered groups together and they compiled data from several groups. They had a control group and an experimental group. Can somebody tell me what you believe the experimental group was? Now look at the definition again. It's part of the experiment that changes. So what is our experimental group in this case? What are we testing? In the paragraph, what are we testing? Want to go back to it? What are they actually testing? They wanted to see what effect. I don't have a highlighter that I can figure out. What do they want to see, Evan? Right, so what are they going to change? What are they changing? Good job, Evan. They want to see if people would go to the fresh produce stands. Zara, what are they changing? Well, that's going to be the effect, right? That's going to happen as a result of the produce stands. So will the body weight change if what happens, Ava?
If they bring people into the store.
Yeah, so if they have a fruit stand, a fresh produce stand. So that's the what group? The people that get the fresh fruit, produce, and vegetables, fresh produce stand, if they get to have one of those a mile away, we're going to check their weight. What can I compare that to, though? What will I have the ability to compare it to? I have to compare it to something. I need a baseline. What's my comparison? What's my baseline going to be? How do I compare it? Okay, so all these people that have the fresh produce stand, their weights are X, Y, and Z. How do I know my experiment worked? Is that enough? I need something to compare it to. Sophie, tell us. We definitely need to know the weights before. So we have to take all that data. We have to compare it to the other group. What's going to happen to the other group? The other group is going to have no changes. So I'm changing and putting a fresh produce stand here. What's the other group going to have, Isabella? It's going to stay the same, so are they going to get a stand or not? No produce stand, and then I'm going to check their weights before and after. Because if they lose weight too, then, it's not the produce stand. Or if something happens, maybe they have a gym next door. Who knows? But they have no produce stand because I want to see if people go to it. They're not going to get a fresh produce stand near their house. This one was a little difficult. The next one is easier. Ready for it? Make a line. You and your classmate wants to test the effect of food coloring on plant color. One of the groups in the experiment gets dye-free water. The other group I'm going to give red water to. The other group I'm going to give green water to. Another group I'm going to give purple. Another group's going to get pink. Another group's going to get red. Did I already say that? Blue, green, yellow. And one is going to get dye-free water. Which, the dye-free water, what is the name of this group? Is that the experimental group or the control group? What group is it, Joseph? It is the control group because what do we need a control for? What's the purpose of a control, Ayami? Why do we need a control group? Exactly. I need to see the differences. I need to see the comparisons. So you writing this down or are you just looking at me? All right. Fresh produce stand, no produce stand. This is going to be dye-free. So what does the experimental group look like? What am I going to give them, Ava? Colored water, all different colors, but each individual one. So I'm going to have a lot of experimental groups. I'm going to have a group of red water. I'm going to have a group of blue water, a group of clean water. I've got the power. I can decide. So what's this variable called? I could just do 3 colors, red, blue, and green. What is this variable called? What is the name of this variable? I have the power to change it, Justin. It's the manipulated independent variable. Good job. One more. You ready? You got a lot of friends here. You and your friend want to test the effect of different brands of fertilizer on sunflower heights. One group receives no fertilizer, and the other group does during the course of the experiment. Which group is the experimental group, Angel? One group gets fertilizer, the other one doesn't. Yes, the one that gets fertilizer. And what's the other group called? What's the other group called, Evan? The control group. Identifying the difference in a control group and an experimental group is a 3. You mastered that standard. Being able to design an experiment and telling me which one the control group is, you design your own, that's a 4. So that's going to be on your test. So Tuesday. All right, go back to life. Back to, see how much my ADD is? Back to reality. I can't get this to go down. All right, oh, extend the page. So over here, the experimental group is fertilizer and no fertilizer. All right. Your question today says, take out your pink paper. Why do scientists use control groups? What is the purpose of a control group, Ava? Yes, you need a control group in order to compare. You need it for a baseline. We need a group to compare, comparison group. Thank you very much.